Very welcome, Dr. Irene Caesar. I'm very honored and glad that you are with us at Mind Revolution Online Summit tonight. And I will introduce you shortly so that the people know a little bit more about you, if they are not. You are the president and founder of Wave Genome. You have founded Wave Genome in 2010 in Stamford, Connecticut, to lead the global quantum leap in laser bioholography, HoloNet, holographic drugs, remote bioengineering, and bioelectronics. You hold a doctorate degree in philosophy of science, and are also the author of 3 books and many articles in different magazines. You are the author of the structuralist theory of wave genome. In August 2012, you co-founded the consortium of Matrix City with the Institute for National Security in Moscow, and for building human settlements of a completely new type with the application of the information wave technologies of the quantum leap. And in May 2013, you formulated the principles of the quantum internet based upon the principle of the uniqueness of the non-local wave matrices and instantaneous transmission between all tokens of the same unique non-local wave matrix. You presented your project Matrix City in a public lecture at the Harriman Institute in Columbia University in 2012. And you regularly presenting your research at major science conferences all over the world. And Wave Genome is very proud to be the leading competitor of major players in the field of bioelectronics, such as Elon Musk and Google. And Wave Genome is ahead of Google for 6 years, I think, of actual sales, right? Yeah, wonderful. So very welcome again, and thank you so much to be with us. And maybe we can start with the first question. And you said in your theory that the universe, human society, and the genome are holograms. Could you please explain us what that means for us, our lives, and our world?
When I was a very young girl, in my 20s, back in Russia, I have created a theory of wave crystals. Ahead of time, anybody in the field who does polarized bioholography right now, or who wrote the books in the United States on holographic universe and etc., etc. And these manuscripts are scanned by Americans, and they are available. They are written by hand. And the essence of this theory was precisely the vision of the universe, which is explainable either as mystics or as quantum physics. So this was the quantum physics seen by the esoteric magicians. I was into practical magic at that moment, esoterics, different mystical theories, and etc. So you might say that this was given to me as a young girl as a revelation. So it was revealed to me. So I wrote it, a priori. So it was analytical knowledge, self-evident, as it is called in philosophy. And later on, when I grew up, became mother of 3 and became a businesswoman and started biology company, biotech startup, I applied this a priori knowledge to biology. And I found facts in biology that proved my theory 100%. Okay. So, in other words, I started with fundamental science, a priori analytical science, and then applied it to the experimental empirical science, and proved that some facts cannot be given empirically, because we cannot conceive the infinity empirically. So quantum non-locality cannot be experienced empirically. So any kind of artificial intellect experiences by 0, 1, 0, 1 cannot express infinity. So it should be cognized, understood in a completely different way. So in other words, I understood it in a completely different way, and then I applied it to the empirical science, and empirical science totally had proven my fundamental theory. So in other words, I created the fundamental theory of wave optics in everything, starting with the universe and ending with the molecule and atom in 1980s. When I graduated from St. Petersburg University. It was, I graduated 1985. This was the year when I wrote this manuscript. And the vision was like this. Everything in the universe is energy. And this is a scientific fact. 93% of universe is energy, waves, and only 7% are particles. And particles are only the concentrated forms of energy. And this energy exists as the interference of waves, because what is energy? Energy are waves. Waves are energy, energy is waves. And different frequencies, amplitudes, and wavelengths. And everywhere we see waves. So they exist as the wave patterns. So this is the first step. You understand that everything is wave interference patterns. And these wave interference patterns, they just differ from the point of view of coherence, structure. And I came to the understanding that these wave interference patterns exist as wave crystals. So I created this term, wave crystal, in 1980s, much earlier than anybody even have spoken of holograms, and waves in genetics, ahead of Garyaev, Tertishny, Ahatrin, anybody. So they started doing it approximately in 2000 something, but they have never spoken of wave optics. So they we're speaking about holography, but nobody really understood what holography, what a hologram is. So most that people were able to understand is that hologram is some image. Hologram is not an image. Visible light is a very narrow spectrum, in a very wide spectrum of waves. And some of them are not even realizable in this dimension, but they are still existing in the hologram. So wave crystal is a quality of the signal. So hologram or holographic signal is the quality of the signal. It is a completely self-sufficient signal, which has inside itself the entire universe. This is what holographic signal is. So in other words, energy exists entirely in its the universe exists entirely as energy in its every matrix point. So this is holographic principle. Any other forms of energy are self-destructible, and you cannot speak of their existence. And this is actually, this is a priori philosophy. So if you speak about energy, the energy, the ultimate energy, and you can call it Ra, our ancestors called it Ra, the absolute light, the light that does not cast the shadow. That is light even in the absolute darkness. So in absolute darkness, you cannot see images, or the holograms as images, but hologram is still there. So these holograms are these wave matrices that have the entire universe inside themselves. So in other words, the infinite number of waves, the infinite number of particles, and the infinite number of fields. And nobody else in the field spoke of holograms in this way. Nobody else. And this is precisely what quantum non-locality is. So quantum non-locality means that in every point of the universe, the entire universe exists entirely. So it is infinite into the direction of macrocosm and into the direction of microcosm, and all this macrocosm and the entire macrocosm, entire microcosm exists at every point. I call it matrix point. And matrix point is a mathematical term. So in other words, in my speeches, lectures, seminars, articles, I don't, because I am a professional and a professional philosopher, I don't use new age terms. So I use very precise term. So in other words, wave crystal is a crystalline media. This is what it is. The media, the interference of wave fronts in specific, arranged in a specific form. So we have liquid crystal media in our bodies, which are 7%, and we have wave crystal media, which is 93%. And this is the pure science, and it is very, very precise notion. Liquid crystal media and wave crystal media. Nobody spoke about wave crystal media. And we know from biology that when our cell divides, it actually crystallizes. So we protein, it then crystallizes into two chromatids. Two chromatids crystallize into chromosome, and only after that, when the liquid crystal media acquires some more coherent crystalline structure, we can speak about life, biological matter becoming capable of better organization, creating new life, regeneration, healing, and etc. So in other words, the level of crystallization is the parameter of the life capable of recreation, regeneration, and healing. That's what it is. So we have liquid crystal media and wave crystal media. And these wave crystals infinite in time and space. So in other words, they're infinite in the past, into the future, into the subatomic dimension, into this universe and universal and galactical dimensions. They differ from each other because they are unique, not simply differing by some feature. I formulated the implication of the holographic principle in August of 2012. So the holographic principle states that universe is entirely in its every matrix point. So the implication states that if the universe is entirely in its every matrix point, then every matrix point is not simply different from any other matrix point, but is unique. So in other words, you and me are there. Eternal, in a religion it is eternal soul, uncreated, indestructible, infinite in time and space. And each of us exists in its own, in your own and my own parallel dimension. And if we have the exact copy of my wave crystal with its certain wave optics refraction, I call it refraction code, the exact copy, so we can transmit information from one copy or token, I call it token, instantaneously and remotely, simply because in quantum non-locality, they are one and the same non-local thing. So in other words, every matrix, you can call it matrix, you can call it monad, like Leibniz, you can call it eidos, like Plato and Aristotle, you can call it hologram. So it's some structure which has some certain quality, and this quality is having its zero center, with zero focus. This is what it is. So we have crystal, this means that we have center, zero center it's called in quantum physics, or focus, because we have certain wave optics in this crystallized wave media. And nobody again spoke about these things. And I got to this idea when I was 20-something years old. And I remember this this white, which actually it maybe happened to me. I had a friend who was vice consul of the South African Republic, Dutch, Leader Van Dijk. And she gave me the book about treating yourself with crystals.
Okay, yeah.
So, and I was struck by the idea that we have glass, right? And we have crystal.
Yeah.
And light just passes through the glass.
Yeah.
It just goes, you know, and crystal, it catches light. So it actually makes light makes light refract towards the zero center focus of this crystal, and crystal shines because it literally collects this light. So in other words, our crystal in our eye is precisely this device, biological system, which actually collects all this infinite information, notwithstanding whether the person is blind or seeing. Yeah. So even for blind people, the crystal in our eye may plays this role of changing the nature of the signal from, as I call it, linear. And when I was young, in my 20s, I called it unfolded signal, unfolded. Okay, so changes it from the unfolded signal, linear, to the folded holographic signal. So when I was also in 20s, I understood that this crystal, wave crystal, it is infinite, but in the specific dimension, it requires the negative cover. A negative cover is required precisely because this energy is also a torsion, vortex. Yeah. And every vortex in the universe exists as anti-parallel vortex. So in other words, it always returns to itself as a boomerang. Yeah. So you can call it boomerang principle. This is, by the way, the foundation of the morals. Never do upon another person what you would not do upon yourself, because everything returns. Yeah. It's the law of the universe. Everything gets back. So in the universe, in the cell, in the molecule, in the atom, it's always this two, so you might envision it as a sand clock. So sand, in one clock sand goes down, and another one in the opposite direction. It around, south, north, south, like this, like this. This vortex, it goes like this, and it changes. And then again, it was also expressed by swastika. So swastika precisely expresses this, because our ancient depictions of swastika, they always go like this, and then again like this, and then again like that, and go like this.
And it's like infinite,
This is the tree of life. So if you are talking about tree of life, this vortex is going in all directions and changing its spin. It's called spin in physics.
Yeah.
And in my theory, molecules of water are not dipoles, are tetrapoles.
Okay.
In other words, they have 2 poles, or 4 poles, 2 pairs of poles.
Yeah.
Like our DNA. And when the biological matter becomes more structured, for example, for cell division, it becomes tetrapolar. Not dipole. It's not dipole. It's tetrapole.
Okay.
So chromosome is basically, if you want to uncover the mystery of the chromosome, it's precisely like this. It's precisely 4 poles, like swastika kind of structure, with the changing of the spin. So because of the change of the spin, this wave crystal acquires the negative cover, and this is why every next signal gets reflected upon itself. Precisely by minus, plus, minus, attractiveness or repulsion in energy. And it gets reflected back upon itself, and you get a scalar wave. And scalar wave, or Russians call it standing wave. You can call it zero wave. This is precisely what zero energy means, nothing else. So zero energy, it's a zero wave or standing wave, or in the West called scalar wave. So the peak of the forward going wave is nullified by the trough of the same wave when it is reflected back upon itself.
Mm-hmm.
And to get this kind of wave, you need coherent signal, meaning that the signal should preserve its frequency.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why meditation, going into trance, prayer, and these beats, these beats.
Mm-hmm.
People go
with the
chanting with a specific rhythm that repeats itself. So singing, it's healing. It's no word about this. Because as soon as you get this coherence of frequency in your brain,
mm-hmm.
you're just on the way to healing. So, and also it should be impulse signal. Impulse, coherent signal.
Mm-hmm.
So you get the scalar wave diffraction grating. It's a grid. Every cell of the grid becomes itself a scalar wave. And then this grid again a scalar wave. And so it goes deeper.
Yeah.
From the cellular to molecular to atomic, subatomic levels. In other words, we have refraction of the signal
mm-hmm.
towards the zero center or focus of this wave crystal. And it is precisely a virtual zero center because it is infinity. Mm-hmm. It is virtual zero center. And through this zero center, through this focus, we actually reach to our own unique quantum non-locality, because each one of us is uncreated in indestructible wave matrix, monad or ADAS or soul, you can call it. And we get access through the zero center. So in other words, we need to focus our eyes to see specific things. So our crystal literally changes its shape.
Yeah.
So it gets this shape to see something far away. It gets another shape to see something closer.
So yeah.
We need certain wave optics to actually get access to specific things. So our chromosome literally changes its shape like the crystal of our eye to actually get access to specific energy. So in other words, a man can transform itself into the woman, a woman into a man without, without any medication. If a person controls his chromosomes.
Chromosomes, yeah, okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So I formulated the theory of wave optics and chromosomes in 2010. So I applied my fundamental theory of wave crystals, wave crystalline media as the kind of universal term applicable to any kinds of science, from physics to biology to chemistry, you just name it, to sociology to ethics. Mm-hmm. I applied it specifically to biology. Yeah. And I found out that the same gene gets expressed in functional individuals and species via metacentric chromosome, which is analogous to a well-seeing, very well-centered and very well-focused eye crystal. Mm-hmm. And the same gene gets expressed in dysfunctional individuals and species via acrocentric chromosome, which is analogous to the far-sighted or near-sighted eye, literally like half of metacentric chromosome. And metacentric chromosome is analogous to swastika, by the way. So, equal-sided cross.
Yeah.
So the same gene in humans is the metrocentric chromosome, and the same gene in apes is the acrocentric chromosome. Mm-hmm. The same gene in domesticated horses, who are, very well bred with various, very well expressed intellectual ability, is a metacentric chromosome, and the same gene in wild horses, which are like donkeys, mm-hmm. very weak, cannot run for a long time. So the same gene is expressed by acrocentric chromosome. Mm-hmm. So the same gene in healthy children is metacentric chromosome, and the same gene in the children with Down syndrome.
Yeah.
The same gene is expressed by acrocentric chromosome. Mm-hmm. By the way, women have gender chromosome, which is metacentric. That's why women are capable of birth, and men have their gender chromosome as acrocentric. That's why they are not capable of giving birth.
Yeah.
So right now we are actually in the stage that only a few countries will have women.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we are coming to, you know. So
yeah, that leads me to my next question, because you said once in your videos that from now until 10 years there will be no healthy child born in America, for example, because of the genetic collapse.
mm-hmm. So there is the scientist, PhD, biology, a very well-known scientist in Russia, Irina Vladimirovna Yermakova. Mm-hmm. She had conducted experiments, lab experiments with the rats. Mm-hmm. And she has proven that genetically modified organisms are sterile. And those rats who were eating genetically modified organism, GMO, they were becoming sterile in the second generation. And in the first generation, they were subject to degenerative diseases like cancers and all kinds of other diseases. And this is what we see in the United States, where GMO constitutes 80% of food. And GMO has started in the United States of America approximately 25 years ago. And one human generation is 25 years. So in 25 years, in all countries where food intake is more than 50% or 60 or 80% GMO, like United Kingdom, Canada, Australia, United States of America, in Argentina, GMO is 100%.
Yeah.
So in 25 years, there will be no childbirth there. Yeah. So the population will be sterilized in mass. So at that moment, Monsanto, which is now Bayer, right?
Bayer, yeah.
Will fail in producing synthetic embryo. Right. They will fail, you know. So the only thing that they will have a stock of childbearing mothers in some military base, whom they will be guarding as their most treasure. So they will fail with synthetic embryo, and they will fail with the artificial intellect, because both of these things, they destroy wave optics. Because wave optics is a universal term. It's not just biology or genetics. It's just a universal principle. It doesn't matter. You call it artificial intellect or you call it whatever. You know, you understand what I mean? Yeah. It doesn't matter. If you violate wave optics, you cannot produce anything. And they cannot produce artificially wave optics because one component in this wave optics is uncreated, indestructible. And they cannot create it. You know, Elon Musk, go and create something that is uncreatable, you know, and indestructible. Elon Musk, can you create? Elon Musk said that humans have feline brains, you know. Elon Musk, you have feline brains. Brains, Elon Musk, you know. So, in other words, this understanding of quantum physics is not new. Our ancestors, they knew these principles for millennia. So all mystics, you know, practical magicians, all philosophers, they all understood this principle. Leibniz and Aristotle, it's not new.
Yeah. So one side, that's good news that they cannot reproduce it. Yeah, I mean, a human is the human being, and that's yeah. But yeah, you said this bioholographic and scalar wave principles and everything you just explained to us. And what can they do? You were talking about healing and really developing our consciousness, or I don't know what can that do for us today in our lives, or for the world, for the entire planet, or for everybody, for humanity finally.
So good news are that you know, some people in this world, they realized the danger. So, for example, in Russia, GMO, to grow GMO is forbidden.
It's forbidden, yeah.
Forbidden. So the danger of GMO is not only genetically modified organism itself and eating GMO. The danger is that so-called transgenic contamination. So as soon as the country grows GMO, for example, Israel, they grow GMO. It's a small country. It's like Moscow area, something. It's a very small country. So they grow GMO. In other words, the entire population is guaranteed to be sterilized in Israel. I'm very sorry. So the first thing is they're supposed to be areas free of GMO. So in Europe, they're supposed to be areas free from pesticides, from Roundup, and all glyphosate and GMO.
All this.
And this should be the national security program of every country, handled by military. They should find women that are free of opiates and cocaine and marijuana, that have clean mind, clean blood, clean liquid crystal media. It's not, the longer they wait, the harder it will be found for them. The woman that is clean, that didn't have multiple partners, because multiple sexual partners is analogous to RNA interference. Drinking blood, human sacrifice with drinking blood, or raw meat diet, sushi, sashimi, it's all, or multiple sexual partners, it's all RNA interference. Which is proven to destroy genome by Craig Mello and Andrew Fire. So we should find girls who are not just can be childbearing, that they can produce the most pure wave optics of their chromosomes without any other interferences by bacteria, viruses, multiple sexual partners, animal proteins, and etc. Because according to facts, in 25 years, population is sterilized in mass, guaranteed. In Europe, North America, South America, Australia.
This is, it's terrible, but it's good to hear that, because I really believe it's like, not in German we say the time is like 5 minutes before 12, but it's like 10 minutes after 12 for humanity, and that's a little bit the thing of my congress too, of my online summit, that I really want people to wake up now. I don't think we have time again and again to wait and to do nothing and just live our lives and think it's all okay. Nothing is okay. It's not okay. So do you believe, or do you think that we still have time, or what should we do? What can we do? What are the tools that we have right now?
Well, I'm absolute optimist, because I can to myself, the light being who came from Ra.
Beautiful.
Light, which is actually heavenly Russia, because Russia is precisely from Ra, absolute light. Volga, the major river of Russia, was called Ra. So I come from the light and I come back to the light. So I don't have any pessimism or fear of death or disease. I don't have. And I believe that humanity have chance. I believe that. So
hopefully. It's nice. I mean, it's always, as you said in the beginning, everything is energy, so much energy. So we really need to put ourselves also in good energies and not remain in all this bad bad stuff, if I can say that this way. Can you tell us what psychotronic warfare is and what it does to us? You already talked a little bit about it, but yeah, for many people, I think they have no idea that things like that already exists, you know. So what are psychotronic warfare, and what it does to humanity or to people?
Well, at this moment, NATO and all other, Russia and India and China, they all actively test psychotronic weapons on their population, on civilians worldwide. And the next war will be cyber, genetic, or biological psychotronic war. That's why robots are discussed, because humans can be suppressed by psychotronic warfare. And Iraqi war was the first psychotronic war. That's why Americans, they marched to Baghdad in a matter of 2 or 3 days, because they suppressed Iraqi by the psychotronic weaponry. But this psychotronic weaponry that they used influenced or destroyed American soldiers themselves, turning them into vegetables. So in other words, this more rough kind of emanation transmitters were abandoned, and right now we go into this new level of psychotronic war, which is more a hybrid war, illicit war through telecommunications and mobile phones, which was tested by Professor Chaim Sampolinsky in October 2017 in Catalonia, when he and a group of the scientists from Israel, and he's a professor of Jerusalem University, they landed in Barcelona with a generator which had the code name Pastor, and they immediately established a connection around Barcelona in the telecommunications center, in the university and technological college, and etc. And they transmitted this signal, destructive signal.
Yeah.
Evidently, Igor Smirnov technology, which has the lower frequency wave and high frequency wave, which creates of its own scalar wave inside these segments. So it's low frequency and then high frequency, and this if this interference is stable, coherent, then these segments are stable. Then in these segments you have a scalar wave emerging of its own, and then this scalar wave is capable of recording upon itself the modulation of any command. You know, you can just talk into this interference, and this interference actually will hold your command. You can then call, say some curses or black magic, whatever, because many people who do this stuff, they are into black magic, believe it or not. So it was Igor Smirnov creation. It was a Russian scientist, the father of psychotronics, and Chaim Sampolinsky, he just has stolen this technology from Igor Smirnov and applied it en masse in Catalonia in October 2017. And every cell phone, every mobile phone is a retransmitter of this signal. And when you have many retransmitters in the area, you have waves going to here, it's receives wave, and the other phone waves are overlaid. The same wave is overlaid.
So it's amplified, or
and it's amplified.
Okay.
In other words, if you have the same signal transmitted into, let's say, 100,000 phones in the area, the result is much more destructive than if you just transmit, have one transmitter that transmit very heavy amplitude and frequency, you know, destructive high frequency, destructive low frequency. So this kind of illicit transmission is much more destructive than just having one transmitter just going like from the satellite. And satellites right now are becoming this basically stations that are united in some kind of system that is mobile and that is capable of subjecting this specific regional telecommunication network to the signal. Yeah. So this is basically what is prepared. This new level of Star Wars, both Boeing is preparing laser weapons, and laser not only direct energy weapon of certain intensity, but precisely as a transmitter of this Igor Smirnov technology.
And I guess like the 5G in Europe, 5G, everybody is talking about the 5G, and nobody really knows what it does to humans and even to the animals and plants and everything. So and they are just installing it right now everywhere, you know. And I believe that 5G may not be really a good thing for the planet or for humans and for animals. So, but can they? Do you think they can program these waves, or how should we think about that? Can they program us with something like that?
Well, let us start with 5G. GMO, genetically modified organisms, which are sterile.
Yeah.
They are produced by different ways. One way is the introduction of some virus or bacteria, or like for example, cancerogenic bacteria that produces cancer in trees.
Yeah.
Right. But another way of producing genetically modified organisms is electrophoresis. So very strong radiation, just destroying wave optics of chromosomes of your DNA and RNA.
Yeah.
So in other words, 5G is another way of destroying chromosomes and making people sterile. This is the other way of mass sterilization. So in other words, every person should run away from any kind of installation of 5G
near
his or her home, require some kind of heavy protection, various kind of protection, including maybe my devices, because this is guaranteed destruction of genetics, and it is proven empirically. Children get cancer. Near installations of 5G cell towers, 5G. And it will be very fast, you know. So you don't need a lot of 5G to actually get brain damage. Cell damage and molecular cell damage.
So, and if that's one thing you said, that humans just will be sterilized with that, and psychotronic attacks can have some different like people become negative, or do they have negative thoughts, or they are just stressed out, or what other sign that someone is under a psychotronic attack can people have?
So the other thing about 5G, that just to finish 5G before we go to this question, but with 5G the most horrible thing is that governments will not abandon 5G.
Mm-hmm.
Because 5G is this supersonic weapons, very fast weapons. So they will not abandon it. So it will continue. So 5G will continue.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the reality we should deal with, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
because of the military, this necessity to obtain response to the very fast supersonic weapons.
Mm-hmm.
And this, they are all based upon very fast communications provided by 5G. That's why we have to deal with 5G. So this is the reality that we have to deal with.
Yeah.
This means that we have to change our life accordingly if you want to survive. This is just bare fact, you know. You want it, you don't want it, you have to deal with it, you know. So in other words, we have to deal with this in our buildings. We have to build our buildings in a specific way. And it is not only paint or metal on the glass, on the window glass. It's not only curtains with silver and gold threads, you know. It's not only bunkers, you know, with cement, which somehow, you know, screens this kind of radiation. It's the shape of the buildings.
Yeah.
You know, in Russia, in 1965, communists conducted experiments in maternity wards, hospitals, maternity hospitals, and Russian Orthodox churches. And they found out that maternity hospitals are completely contaminated with the staphylococcus and streptococcus bacteria. And you cannot get rid of it, even with the very heavy disinfectants. And Russian Orthodox churches are completely free of any bacteria and viruses. Though crowds of deadly sick people come there every day.
And sit there.
Because world is 93% energy, only 7% particles, and these waveforms of bacteria and virus are simply nullified in the scalar wave because of the shape of the cupola-shaped building of the church. So we have to change the way of how we build. We should build cupola, again, cupola-shaped buildings. We have to do this walls with a conductor electret structure. We have to have domes. And the same is with everything. And like we have to change the way of our how we dress ourselves, clothing, materials. We have to get back to natural fiber, because natural fiber, this hair. Why we wear fur coats in the winter? Because every hair is a nanopipe. Which annulls infrared thermal waves in a scalar wave inside the hair. You see? And our ancestors, they were sleeping on the pillows down, this hair of down again, nullified not only infrared waves, any spectrum, pathological energy in some organ, if it's the organ is dysfunctional, it's also nullified by this nano tubes. And also materials with the hollow cavity effect, the same thing. And for example, our ancestors, they used clay with hay. And the hay was considered to be sacred. You know, during weddings, they were putting hay. Also, the dead person, they were putting on the hay. Why? Because hay had this effect. So, going to your question, what are the symptoms? The symptom is precisely the destruction of the wave optics of our brain. So we are 93% wave crystal media, and 93%, and 7% liquid crystal media. We are 95% approximately water. So our brain is basically, it's a watery substance. Watery substance, like a soup, you know. And our skull, the shape of our skull is very important. Our ancestors, they were elongating the skulls. It's a scientifically proven fact.
Yeah.
So all like yours and mine high foreheads,
yeah.
they are the result not of the natural selection or artificial selection. They are the result of the artificial elongation. So they were elongating the forehead, you know.
Yeah,
The only person with such skull was capable of annulling external linear signals, which are always destructive for us.
Okay.
Any frequency, high frequency, low, it doesn't matter. Any linear signal is destructive. Because our liquid crystal media is a very precisely calibrated substance, calibrated by the very precisely calibrated wave crystal media. So in other words, there are certain wave interference patterns.
Yeah, yeah.
Each one calibrated with specific refraction code. So our brain, every part of our brain, calibrated with specific wave optics so that it is connected remotely and instantaneously with a certain organ.
Okay, yeah.
So this is how it works. If you think about something, as Aristotle said, our brain becomes identical with the wave structure, or he called it energeia, energy, with the energy structure of this object. So in other words, if you think about boots or shoes, your brain becomes identical, he said, with the structure of the shoes, of the boots, something finite. But if you think about something infinite, your mind becomes identical with the energy structure, precisely wave crystal of this infinity. So even he is just a feline, creature who is incapable of making his brain identical with infinity. So what happens when we are subjected to this external signal? And it might not be even very intense electromagnetic radiation. It can be depression, it can be negative stress or anything, grief, loss, it's guilt. It doesn't matter. It's not necessarily guilt might produce more heavy disruption of wave optics of the brain than any violence. So a person can deal with violence, rape, and something, but if the person cannot deal with guilt, his own or her own guilt, guilt can produce a heavy disruption of wave optics in the brain than any heavy electromagnetic radiation. And in some people, heavy electromagnetic radiation doesn't produce too much effect because of the shape of the skull and the whole coherence of every cell and molecule and human because of the shape of the chromosomes. They just annul any external linear signal much more successfully than males, for example. But the guilt may produce in this woman a more destructive effect in her brain than any electromagnetic radiation. And what happens is that the brain forms the generator of pathological energy. This is a scientific term. It's not New Age term. It's a scientific term. A generator of pathological energy, like in schizophrenia. So in other words, you have two centers, and in other words, the energy linear signal hits some area of the brain, and there you have some pathological excitation of the cells and molecules and atoms. So they vibrate in a pathological manner and destroy the very precisely calibrated wave optics. And then this area of the brain is just dysfunctional. So it can connect to the past, to the future. So this person can hear voices, can have vision, like schizophrenic. So, and any kind of announcement that there is some supercomputer, some super machine on the satellite or anywhere that reads your mind, can program your mind. That's your other question. It's a total complete bullshit. It's Elon Musk feline bullshit. Nobody is in control, can be, and ever will be in control of you. Only you yourself, because you are indestructible and uncreated. Wave matrix, soul, monad, ADAS, and only you yourself can destroy your own wave optics. And even if you are subject to some very heavy psychotronic attack by very heavy emitter, or high frequency or low frequency, doesn't matter. You will always be able to restore yourself.
Yeah,
this is the law. Maybe you die in this dimension, but you are indestructible and created. So, and our goal, right now, our goal is threefold. First, we need to create the theory of wave optics of everything, including chromosomes, which is the theory of refraction codes, zero center, and transmission of information remotely and instantaneously. Second, we need to create technology that corresponds to this new fundamental theory. Not frequencies, not resonators, not wave pharmaceuticals, digital pharmaceutics, no, pharmaceuticals. And third, we need to create the operators who are capable of psychophysics, because this is already psychophysics. In other words, you, with your brain, can control climate, stop rain, call for rain, heal people, defend yourself, just without any heart, any lasers, any.
Our ancestors did, Our ancestors could, and even today there are few people or a few tribes in the world that they're still using these techniques, or just
our ancestors are still here. So they're not there, they're here. They actually still control this dimension. So so they and it's actually supported by evidence.
So
we are hard evidence that this dimension is in good hands, and in hands of ancient Russian Aryans. That's how they call themselves. Yes, not anything else. Yes.
That's a big subject, the history, and you are so. I'm always very impressed when I see you videos where you are talking about history, because you come up with so many real hard facts that nobody can destroy, and all what we learned, it's like nothing is true, and I know it's really a big subject, but maybe you just start a little bit, and can you tell us what should we know today about history, the real history, that it's important for us to know now, to go on in this world with humanity, with the planet Earth, and for everybody, what it's important for us to know about the real history, about humanity, about our ancestors, about us, finally.
Well, we need to apply quantum physics to history, is what I would say. In other words, there is no progress, no regress. Every soul has its own history. You have your own history. I have my own history. Some are new souls, from animals. Some are old souls who come from absolute light and return to the absolute light. So in other words, history, physics, cosmology should be totally researched. So cosmos, outer space, is not organized by we call it in philosophy bad infinity. Universe after universe, galaxy after galaxy, to the bad infinity. So you can fly to the other dimension in the spaceship. We are organized, our bodies are organized by the electromagnetic field of our planet.
Yeah.
When Americans showed the video of how they came back from the moon, it's so funny because Russians, when they fly around the Earth, they carry them because they can move, because they're completely dysfunctional after this flight, so we cannot go far away in the spaceship from our planet. Even if we have some generators or water molecule, water substance around us, it doesn't matter. Generators will be destroyed themselves because the energy they will produce is finite, and anything that connects this infinite, unique wave matrices is infinite. So, in other words, we can go using this zero energy through the zero center focus of the wave matrix, wave crystal or ADAS, monad, etc. So what we need to do with our history, we need to realize that history is not even cyclical. It's individual and unique for every individual, unique soul.
Okay.
And it's the first thing. Second thing is our dimension is also unique and infinite. Yeah. So the planet Earth is not one of the planets where we have life. It's a completely unique dimension. Yeah. And we have this quantum non-locality focused in this specific dimension in a specific way. So it gets expressed in a specific way. Yeah. Though the laws are universal, so it's the laws of the reflection upon itself, scalar wave, refraction, zero center focus, it's universal. But still it is focused. The refraction code of this dimension is very unique. It's completely unique. There's no other dimension anywhere. And it is infinite. So the Earth is not finite. It is the infinite wave matrix, which is localized in this specific solar system. But in essence, it is unique and infinite. So this is the second thing. And the third thing is the beings that civilize this dimension are unique, infinite. And in other words, there is no such thing that there was some civilization and it's got extinct. There is no such thing. Yeah. So these civilizations, they were refraction codes of this civilization that continues and will always it is infinite again in time and space. Yeah. Unique for this dimension. So in other words, ancestors are still here. Any time slice is still here. Yeah. And it's here not metaphorically, it's here really. And what are these ancestors are? These ancestors are light beings, 93% light and 7% particles, who come from the absolute light Ra and come back to the absolute light Ra. That's why they called themselves fiery falcons. Sakal in Russian. Falcon is sakal. That's why it's sak. Skis and sak. Skis is the suffix. Skis, skif, is a Greek way of taking it. Vowels were not written down, so skis is a sak. So Anglo-Sax, German Saxon, Russian Sak, Iranian Sak, and all Sak around the world, Kyrgyz Sak. They are fiery falcons, firebirds, who consider themselves the souls who come from this absolute light and come here and come back to this absolute light. And you should be, when you die, you should be light as the feather of the falcon to be able to rise to this light. And you come here through the mother's womb. There is no other way. Yeah. That's why this matriarchy was before patriarchy, and so patriarchy was the degeneration of the ancient civilization. You know, golden age, iron, copper age, and iron age.
Mm-hmm.
So degeneration from the golden age, which was ruled by women, and certain stages of this development of our dimension we can see. And according to my fundamental theory, as I said to you, right, everything is two clocks in anti-parallel. So in other words, our universe was born through this zero center, from one dimension into the other dimension, like this.
Yeah.
So there was no Big Bang. Big Bang is an idiotic thing of the feline brain. Scientists like Elon Musk. Big Bang. Where did it happen? Big Bang. They go, Big Bang. Where? So it happened somewhere. So there was somewhere then. Okay, so there was a Big Bang in somewhere, but was it somewhere then? You know, so it's a completely idiotic idea for people who never even gone to the philosophy 1.0 community college. You know, so there was no Big Bang. There was this. Appearance of the of this universe through the zero center to this like a sand clock.
Mm-hmm.
And when this universe was going through the zero center, the planet was, for example, planet Earth had another shape. It was closer to the egg.
Okay. Yeah.
And it is very easy to prove. Everything is very easy. It's not difficult. You can find out yourself. I found out this when I was 20 years or something old.
Mm-hmm.
I took the map of the continents,
mm-hmm.
and I just cut out all the continents.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody can do it. No problem.
Yeah.
You can create a computer program like this.
Mm-hmm.
And then I put all the continents together.
Yeah.
And they fit like a puzzle, everything.
Mm-hmm.
And when I put everything together, there was no continent more. It is all bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
This is Blavatsky bullshit. Everything fits together ideally, you know. And what you get an egg.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's not round then. Yeah, but
also you don't get water. So all these rivers, it's just cracks in this earthly crust.
Mm-hmm.
So there was an event when this egg,
mm-hmm.
you know, it became other shape, and you got water, you got rivers, you got this continents, the ocean, and etc. So this was some event.
Yeah.
I mean, what I say right now is just evident, you know. You don't have to read any kind of mystical literature. It's just plain in your hands, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So, and also we have remnants of the megalithic civilization all over the globe, which is based upon pyramids.
Mm-hmm.
So we have pyramids, not just something. We have pyramids or megalithic pyramids, and we have giants. And Smithsonian Institute in America destroyed its collection of giants. I consider this to be a sign that United States is simply unstable. So if they destroy historical evidence, what kind of civilization is that? You know, so we have giants, we have megalithic civilization, and the question, why? Right now we are small and giants were high. Why? Because gravitation was different. It's simple. Everything is very simple. So gravitation was less, then the people was higher. And the trees were higher, and the insects and butterflies.
Everything was bigger.
Everything was light because gravitation was lower.
Different.
And why gravitation was lower? Because the planet was smaller. The small planet closer to the egg shape, that's why gravitation less and everything is bigger. It's simple. It's very simple. So then some gravitational event happened, right? That actually changed the size of the planet, destroyed this megalithic civilization. And we have smaller people, smaller plants, and gravitation is bigger, more because the planet is bigger. So, and according to my theory, right, my vision, you might say, clear vision, I see it as the separation of males from females.
Mm-hmm.
This is how I see it.
Mm-hmm.
Pyramid is a specific structure,
Yeah.
angular. Angle of incidence is equal to angle of reflection. In the pyramid, the same wave is reflected sideways. That is why it is overlaid with itself.
Mm-hmm.
This increases its amplitude. So pyramids were used to create rain.
Mm-hmm.
When planet had another shape, it was smaller and more to the egg-shaped something.
Yeah.
And I just observed this fact with my bare eyes all over the world, you know.
Mm-hmm.
They say, well, when you have a pyramid, big pyramid, the cold front of air meets with the hot front of air, then we have condensation and rain. It's bullshit. I saw with my own eyes the small pyramids in Urals in southern Russia. Small pyramids, they react to people. You come, the pyramid create above itself a small local cloud,
Wow.
it rains, you get the huge rainbow right near this pyramid, 5 meters like near this pyramid, and then it goes away. Everything else around it totally not touched by this pyramid.
Yeah.
And every pyramid has rainforest. Puerto Rico, dry desert land, but we have rainforest.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
By the pyramid. And when people come to pyramid, it reacts, it's very often rains.
Yeah.
Because pyramid reacts to people energy, you know.
Okay, yeah.
Everywhere you see rainforest with very heavy, thick, high trees,
yeah.
they're insanely high.
Mm-hmm.
Insanely,
yeah,
you know?
very big and
insanely
yeah.
high. Crimea, Petri mountain, which is a pyramid, has pines.
They are like,
you can believe it. It's just unbelievable.
Yeah.
So it's very easy to see where these pyramids are still active.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have a pyramid, you have the amplification of any signal. Mm-hmm. So you should have something that balances this amplification. And according to my vision, women with their chromosomes, they were balancing this magnified, amplified energy. Mm-hmm. And when males separated from women, and I might say, well, killed women and males or killed men priestess, you know, who was in control of these pyramids, then pyramids became psychotronic weapons, and they blew the planet, you know, like a gravitational bomb. Mm-hmm. That's how I see it.
Okay.
Know?
Okay.
So, ancient war, and it happened precisely when the dinosaurs went
extinct. Yeah, yeah.
So this was the extinction of dinosaurs. So it's, you know, everything's so simple. You can say directly when it happened, and you can analytically, a priori, judge what might have happened.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very nice. Thank you. For me, it's always the question, all what we talked about, you know, there must be someone who wants, or not just one person, or a lot of people, that human beings are not evolving or are not healthy, or everything we talked about tonight, the GMOs, the 5G and all this stuff. Why people who are living also on this planet want to destroy us, and maybe they cannot destroy the planet, but they can for sure harm us, you know. That's always my question, because they also live here, their children also live here. So do you think they have already things to protect them against all that, because they breathe the same air, they live in the same countries as we do, and so on?
Well, these people are Neanderthals, so there are no seeds, you know, You know, they're only Neanderthals. These people are Neanderthals. Elon Musk is a Neanderthal. If he wants to put chip into the brain of a man, he's just a Neanderthal. I will not call him names, right? Accuse him, right? I will just say in scientific terms, he's a Neanderthal who doesn't understand that you cannot take a camera, Canon camera or Nikon camera, very precisely calibrated camera, then take your dirty finger, okay, with something, a chip, and get your dirty finger into the Nikon camera or Canon camera, and then go and take a nice picture. Elon Musk, very sorry. You know, no picture for, no nice picture for you. Elon Musk, no nice picture for you. Your satellites, your Dragon spaceships will continue falling from the sky, you know, seriously, because this is what you deserve. Because I consider this to be a grave offense to us, Cro-Magnon man, you know, by the Neanderthal, you know, seriously. So this dimension is the constant, continuous war between Cro-Magnons, pure people, humans who come from Ra, and skin color, eye shape doesn't matter. So there are people, humans, who come from the absolute light here. And war between them and Neanderthals. And Neanderthals are those who committed karmic crime.
Karmic crimes, yeah.
And the most horrible karmic crime is human sacrifice and pedophilia and drinking of human blood. These are three major karmic crimes, and scientifically, pure science, they lead to RNA interference, which literally shuts down genome. So they become like down human, down children, you know. So they are incapable of understanding. So you tell me, well, they probably have the defense. Bill Gates doesn't have defense, or Elon Musk, they don't have defense. They are looking for defense.
Okay.
But with their Neanderthal understanding and feline brains, they will never find defense. They experiment with their own super soldiers, with themselves. They experiment, but the only thing that they get the destruction of wave genome and wave optics of their chromosomes, and centering and focusing of their brain. Because their defense is not something to be invented. Our ancestors, they used it for millennia, you know. You should understand the principle that they used. And then you can go to new materials, like electrode-based chips, and just crystallize them during solidification with specific modulation, right? It's all there, but our ancestors, they did it in churches. They were making wax candles, which is electrode, while they were praying. So you can pray over the liquid wax and make the candle with the modulated electronic structure. Electrodes, they hold electronic structure. And then when a believer burns the candle literally emits this wave interference structure upon the believer. It's pure science. They used all these resins, frankincense, for millennia. They used cupola-shaped buildings. They elongated their skulls.
The skulls, yeah. Wonderful. Okay. And that leads me, because we were talking about protection now also, and you sell a lot of extraordinary products, really, and services also with your technology to also heal, protect, and rejuvenate. And the Russian Olympic team and the special forces of Russia also are using your devices and their efficacy are proven. Can you please tell us a little bit more about that?
So I started making the devices in 2012. Mm-hmm. And I took the research and development in technology in Russia, which was already there. Yeah. And then I applied my fundamental theory of wave optics and chromosomes to this technology. So people were making electrode-based chips before me. And what they do, they act as lenses, which you apply upon your chromosomes in order that your chromosomes center and focus themselves during cell division, acquiring this metacentric shape.
Mm-hmm, what you explained.
So that the cell divides in a proper way, mm-hmm. not in a dysfunctional way. And electrodes, again, they function because they hold the electronic structure. So during the solidification in a specific environment, under specific conditions, you can actually modulate this scalar wave diffraction grating inside the electrode, literally changing the electronic structure with specific refraction code. So what I added to this technology, I added the modulation of the electrode with the individual unique refraction code of the client. So before me, nobody did this individually. Mm-hmm. By a hologram or refraction code, holographic signal of the client. Mm-hmm. This I did. I was first to do it. So I actually created the technology of how, and different kind of protocols, mm-hmm. how you can do it. You can do it with the let's say, stabilized helium neon laser. You can do it with non-optical laser. You can do it with a specific chamber, you know, specifically constructed. So you can do it in different ways. But you can modulate this electronic structure with the refraction code of the client, mm-hmm. which can be recorded by the device, specific device from the childhood photograph or adult photograph of the client, when this device is capable of recording the holographic signal, according again to this principle. First, reflection of mm-hmm. the signal back upon itself, yeah, and then refraction of the signal towards the zero center of this wave crystal. So you need to create wave crystal in a specific way. And then you can, when you created this wave crystal, you can actually modulate it with the donor. You might call it donor, the by a hologram of the photograph, because yeah. everything in universe is 93% energy and 7% particles. So the photograph is actually a wave crystal. So okay. But it is not coherent. You see, not enough coherent. So you create a wave crystal which is much more coherent than
but
this
from a photograph.
And then the photograph, yeah. and then you can modulate this wave crystal with this holographic signal mm-hmm. of the photograph, mm-hmm. and then you can use this modulated scalar wave diffraction grating either to digitize it as the holographic drug. You can record it as MP3 file. Mm-hmm. You can transmit it remotely, instantaneously upon this person, mm-hmm. because it is one with this person in the quantum non-locality. Yeah. And also you can take this by a hologram modulated by the person's refraction code and transmit it upon the electrode during solidifying. Mm-hmm. And ways to create our ancestors used to create the wave crystal were different. Mm-hmm. They were using spirals, you know, different kind of flat spirals. Because what is a spiral? Coil, electromagnetic induction coil, what it is. Every turn of the coil like it goes like this, right? Every turn of the coil amplifies the signal because it overlays the same wave upon itself. Yeah. But when it turns 180 degrees backwards, it creates a scale wave. So George Lakovsky, the ingenious Russian engineer, electrical engineer, he was healing cancer in France, in Paris, in 1930s, very successfully. Cancer in plants, cancer in animals. Simply because this coil created a, you might say, coherent enough and stable enough scalar wave. Yeah. To actually make chromosomes in human body, liquid crystal media, more coherent, more crystallized, more centered and focused. So also you can take coil, which is one part starts here and goes like this towards the center, right? And another signal goes from the center outwards, anti-parallel, and put signal, the same frequency, amplitude, everything the same. So it creates a very stable, coherent scalar wave. Works wonders, wonders. Our ancestors, our women, they were wearing the spirals right here on the temples. We have, I don't know in the West, but in Russia we have this. You have, they get like, you are crazy. Elon Musk, you are with Elon brace, Elon Musk. Because Elon Musk, he doesn't have spin, not enough spins, Yeah. And also there were rings, like rings like spirals, and also we have a ring, look like this. Goes like this here, and then it goes, change the spin and goes like this. Did you see these rings in Nepal? Yeah. It works wonders, It works wonders. Then this sacred Malka necklace from Brahmins in India wear. Yeah. 925 silver and mountain crystal. Capacitor, electrical capacitor, plus, minus, minus, plus. Okay. Established chaotically. So here minus plus, here plus minus, so creates collects energy first of all, like a capacitor, and then creates a scalar wave. Okay. Simple. Very simple, very effective. Very effective. So, so our ancestors, they use all these kind of devices. Also, they used spirals like a golden embroidery. Embroidered swastikas on their clothing. Precisely because the swastika is the same as spiral. It doesn't matter what you do. Swastika or spiral, the same meaning is the same. So spiral embroidered, and they always did it in anti-parallel because they say some people who don't understand this science, they say, well, it is left-handed, this right-handed. It's all bullshit. Because look at me. For you, it's right-handed or left-handed? Goes from right to left or to right? From you, it goes from right to left. Me, yeah, it goes to left and from, yeah. I mean, so in other words, in ideal, it should be always anti-parallel. Yeah. As I said, tetrapolar. This principle should be preserved. Like in our DNA, one strand goes one direction, the charge, electrical charge, and another spiral goes the opposite direction. So this is how it works. Always like this. But you have, maybe I can show it. I always wear it, of course. My raw psi-generator. You saw it turns gold. You see? It's funny, no? And this, yes, and this, you see, and the other thing that what I did, right? I introduced the structure of the structure of the generator, much more complicated than it was before. So people, they used before me, they used kind of sandwich structure, electret conductor, precisely like here. Yeah. Electret conductor, because combination with electret conductor fulfills two tasks. First, you need constant supply of energy. If you just take electrolyte like crystal, like my ex-boyfriend, he always was wearing crystals. He was sleeping with crystals, sitting with, and it didn't bring him health, you know, because crystal, it creates kilo wave, which actually become parasitic upon your energy. You understand what I mean?
Yeah.
Like we use salt and sugar, which are crystals, right? We use them to preserve vegetables and fruits. Why? Because sugar and salt annul these waveforms of bacteria and viruses in the scale wave.
Yeah.
But too much sugar and too much salt is very dangerous. That's the same as with the mountain crystal. What do you think? Mountain crystal is different? No. So all the crystals are very dangerous. So you should always use crystals with metal.
Okay. Yeah.
The conductor. So conductor actually attracts any kind of energy, infrared, you know, energy, any kind of energy. So if you have earring and you go outside and outside it's cold, right? So your earring becomes very cold because it attracts the waves, you know?
Yeah.
So that's why you have to use sandwich. Conductor, electric, conductor, electric. So this principle was used before me. But I invented a much more complicated structure of this generator. For example, my second birth generator, which I produced with Bauman, Russian State Technology University in Moscow, which is the largest and most important science university in Russia, of MIT level. I actually created the shape as a bell. And the shape is matryoshka. It's a Russian doll. Bigger doll inside a smaller doll inside a smaller doll. And every layer is a modulator. You see, so I actually created it myself. There are people who add layers, different kinds, tried different layers, but nobody did it in the correct form, matryoshka form, and nobody actually added these layers as I did. So the most people did is creating a chaotic structure, organized, electric and pieces of metal. Doesn't work because it doesn't have wave optics. It's chaotic. Chaos cannot create any wave optics. The most that they do, they add spirals, metal spirals, to organize. That's all they do, you know. And there are some companies in Russia who produce electrode-based chips, like me. They add spirals to the electrode. So in other words, what I do is not some fringe science, you know, some kind of, it's a mainstream science. Elon Musk, do you hear me? So it's a mainstream science based upon millennia of technology
already,
different ways by our ancestors, you know. Our women, they were also wearing the stones here, always metal and the stone, and the rings and this bracelets, and in Nepal you have bracelets that are not touching here. Precisely because air fulfills the role of the dielectric. Creating charge, minus plus, on the side of the edges of the bracelet. So I added individualization, and I added the precise wave optics of the shape of the generator, and I also added the modulation of the electrode by a specific substance, but done with understanding of my theory, of fundamental theory of wave optics chromosomes. Because people, they try to actually transfer specific wave matrices upon electrode media. For example, in Austria, they have these cards with this kind of magnetic tape that they try to, you know, transfer some specific substance, homeopathy, digital homeopathy. But the most what they do, they do technology that's outdated. So all this Lakovsky, Tesla, coil technology, and a technology based upon the size of resonator corresponding to specific frequency, and they understand it as a frequency transmitting. See, they transmit frequency. So I don't work with frequencies. You know, according to my theory, hologram has the infinite number of frequencies, particles, and fields. And when you understand this, you think about everything in a completely different way. So you create the devices that are capable of reading this reflection code. You create technology in a completely different way. So this is what I created. I created a laser myself with the Bauman State University. So they had a laser, but I modified it. It's a non-optical laser it is actually capable of reading and transmitting this holographic signal. And for this, you just need to fulfill this criteria: proper reflection of the wave. It should be coherent and impulse signal. And it should not be from one only source. It should be at least binary. It's better that it will be not binary, but spherical. The shape should not be just a sphere. You know, there are many people who do spheres, you know.
Yes,
like China, they do this spheres. They put growing wheat there, you know, sprouts of growing wheat. You know, sphere does not work. You know, you should have this like matryoshka shape. You see? So you should have pyramidal part which amplifies the signal for you, and you should have the part that nullifies the signal for you. You should have two functions, like in the body: inflammation, and then the slowing down inflammation. If you don't have ignition and then stop of ignition, it doesn't work. So you should always have binary function, you see? So bell, for example, it has every sector as a resonator. So it's a polyphony of frequency. You see, this is a polyphony. So bell is a very good, actually, example of how you create scalar wave only if you fulfill certain criteria. If you don't fulfill this criteria, you don't create anything. So it should be impulse, coherent, it should be at least binary. They call it binaural, stereo signal. See, and the shape should be close to the shape of the very elongated forehead, like basically egg shape. And then if you have certain calibration of the lens, you can either receive signal or transmit the signal. It's a concave or convex lens. That's all. You see? So our chromosome is a lens, concave or convex lens. If it's so, depending on its shape, it either receives or transmits the signal. That's all.
And why? Maybe you just can tell a little bit more about why. What can these devices, these Tesla psi-generators, do for us? You have different models and different. You also have other many other articles that you invented, and you're opening. Can we say that you're opening a clinic in what you said? In Chimera. And many things going on in your life. And you help a lot of people, but just maybe if you really can say what these generators does in the life of people.
We have a clinic. So I have a clinic, actually a few clinics in Moscow. And one clinic is based upon the premises of Bauman State University. So in this clinic, what we do, and this technology again was created, initiated by me, created based upon my theory of wave optics and chromosomes. So what we do, we have the generator, the large size generator, which is precisely constructed according to all these principles. So it's a multi-layered sandwich of electrolyte and conductor, and nobody else have this kind of thing. There are some capsules, electrolyte conductor capsules, but they are not created according to the coding principles. So we code this, the material is coded, and then the shape is correct.
Mm-hmm.
Because some people, they create electric conductor capsules, but the shape is not correct. For example, Reich, you know, this Reich cabins, which look like a coffin,
Mm-hmm.
wooden coffin, which is covered by metal.
Mm-hmm.
And coffin, evidently, is not the shape that creates the proper lens. So it doesn't work because it doesn't have proper wave optics.
Mm-hmm.
Then there is another example. There were Kozyrev mirror capsules created in Novosibirsk in Russia by Kazanachev, Professor Kazanachev and Trofimov, very famous research. But their capsules were not correct. So they were taking aluminum, list aluminum, and were making spirals. And they were putting an operator inside this aluminum spiral and putting a pen upon the head of the operator. Okay. Just, you know, like this, pen. Pen does not create wave optics, as well as this aluminum open structure. Yeah. So what it does actually, it tries to find some coordinates outside. Yeah. That's why these people, they were subjected to some kind of chaotic time travel, delusions, and all of them died in accidents, tragic accidents. So what they did was simply not correct. Okay. Okay. Also, there is a capsule in Mias in Urals in Russia. Mias, no, we call Mias. It's a scientific center there. It's closer to the point, but it's again, it's shaped like the dome of our cathedrals, but the one side is open. Mm-hmm. Again, it doesn't create proper optics. Before, a couple of years ago, I used another capsule. It was a first generation Aura machine. It had opening, very heavy opening in the middle. So this also doesn't create proper optics. Mm-hmm. And I saw right now people following my steps because I'm kind of breakthrough
and you give all your secrets.
So you say everything. I give them away in the conferences. What I said to you, I told many times in my science conference.
Yeah.
So, but the point is that this is, you can go and try, but if you don't understand certain things, you see, the problem right now in America, in the United States, and it's less than that in Europe, is understanding of fundamental theory. Mm-hmm. People, they can do, you know, like microphone, electrets, and try to, but if they don't understand this, all these basic principles, they just cannot do, like Elon Musk. Yeah. Everything is given to Elon Musk, the best, like NASA gave him his entire research, you know, but, you know, nothing, you see, nothing resulted, you see. Mm-hmm. So, so I made the capsule. It's a precise egg-shaped, multi-layered, coded, electrolyte is coded, and there are two lenses. The sides of the egg and the lens, a concave lens, and they're calibrated precisely. So in my theory, to transmit signal, holographic signal, remotely, instantaneously, you should have exactly calibrated lens. Mm-hmm. So they have exactly the same refraction code. And if you have the same refraction code, you can modulate one signal, mm-hmm. and then the modulation will get transmitted remotely and instantaneously. Mm-hmm. So I have emitters invented by Bauman State University with more than 50 coherent impulse signals. analogous to laser. Laser produces coherent signal. This is what laser does.
Yeah.
Nothing else, basically.
Yeah.
So, and they have certain program of how they get initiated by these images, and then I modulate this scalar wave diffraction grating, which is created by coherent impulse signal in a certain environment, which should be should have negative cover, as I call it. I called it when I was 20 years old. And then I modulate this scalar wave diffraction grating with the digitized stem cell of this patient, which is extracted from his buccal epithelial cell from his mouth. So we extract his epithelial cell with the microscope. So we extract from his epithelial cell the stem cell, we digitize it, and then we use this digital biohologram of the stem cell as a modulation on the scalar wave diffraction grating in this capsule.
And so this patient just goes back into his initial, or how can we say, I don't know, in his initial state, health, or the people who are coming to see you are suffering from what?
Well, we have clinical trials.
Yeah.
And clinical trials, which I paid for myself, it was very expensive, have proven that this technology actually fulfills what it promises.
Yeah.
So for the clinical trials, we used digital or holographic aspirin. So we received the holographic signal of the aspirin, and we produced the electrode-based chip modulated by this holographic signal of the aspirin, and we conducted clinical trials. And these clinical trials have demonstrated that holographic aspirin functions better than the actual medical aspirin.
Okay.
So it's proven by the clinical trials.
Yeah. So this really, I always have the feeling they just reconnect us to our reality, to our health, to our consciousness, and everything. It's just wonderful. I love them.
But to finish,
sorry.
Your question. Yeah. So I offer the clinic treatment, treatment in the clinic, where I don't use just somebody. I use PhD, MD and PhD in biology. And I use I support the new devices with the high-level medical technology.
Yeah.
This is first thing that I offer. Second thing, I offer holographic pharmacy. And the term holographic, I invented. I introduced HoloNet, holographic internet, holographic drugs. And first, I used digital drugs, electronic drugs, but this doesn't actually express what I offer. So holographic drug, drug, and holographic internet, these are the terms that I offered.
Yeah.
And these have nothing to do with just visual spectrum of light, visual light. It's not an image. So I don't offer pictures, images.
Yes.
So holograms and holographic is the signal which is structured in a specific way, which is reflected back upon itself, then refracted and modulated by some modulator. This is what it is. And you can use different kind of technology to create the holographic signal. So I sell holograms as MP3 files. I started with selling program, but it had incompatibility issues. You know, Windows 7, Windows 10.
Yeah, okay.
So I ended up just selling MP3 files, and to prevent people from copying holographic files, MP3 files, I do them individual. So they are modulated by the refraction code of this specific individual. So
Okay.
this way they cannot be copied, pirated. So they are safe from illegal copying. And third, I offer electrode-based chips, which function as lenses.
Mm-hmm.
So when we poorly see, right, when we have far-sighted eyes or nearsighted eyes, we put lenses, right, like your
Mm-hmm.
glasses,
Yeah.
which help us correct our vision. So
Mm-hmm.
what does it mean? It means that the signal is refracted in the correct way, right?
Mm-hmm.
And reaches the retina in specific way, so it reaches our brain.
Mm-hmm.
We can properly see, right? We can properly react to the environment. So our electrode-based chips, they're precisely like lenses. So these lenses help our chromosomes center and focus during cell division.
Okay.
Based upon increased conductivity. Because as I told you, right, you should always fulfill two functions: the increase of energy, and then ignition, you might say, firing, neuron firing, and then decrease. If you don't have these both functions, the whole thing doesn't work. So you should increase your conductivity. That is why I offer Tesla selenium. It is one and only 2-valent selenium in the world, organic. In the West, they sell 4-valent and 6-valent selenium, which is highly toxic and completely useless because it produces free radicals. Because according to my theory, and it is correct, electrons are just change of the spin.
Yeah.
Electron is a vortex. It is, there are no particles. Particles are 7%. Each electron is 93% energy and only 7% more concentrated matter. So electron is a change of the spin. And if you have two electrons, they nullify each other in a scalar wave. Precisely because they change the spin. You see, this goes like this, and then it goes like this. And they nullify each other in a scalar wave. That's why 2-valent selenium is non-toxic, even in high quantities.
Okay. Yeah.
And so you take selenium, because it is very hard to take selenium from food intake.
Yeah.
And eagle, for example, has such a sharp vision because it has thousands of times more selenium in the eye crystal than human.
Oh, yeah.
In Russia, it is an old product. In Russia, there are followers of this selenium. People take the selenium in big quantities to cure cancer. I don't make claims that it cures cancer, but there were multiple clinical trials that have shown anti-cancer properties and even anti-AIDS properties of this 2-valent selenium.
Okay.
So I offer this selenium, 2-valent organic selenium on its own, then plus germanium, which are very strong semiconductors. And based upon this increased conductivity, you can actually then go on to structure, crystallize your liquid crystal media. And for example, colloidal silver, right? Colloidal silver helps to fight bacteria. Why? Because colloidal silver is a conductor, right? Silver is a conductor. It increases the vibration of bacteria by overlaying its the same wave over itself, and the bacteria literally bursts apart. You see, so it's very important to actually have proper conductors, iron, selenium, germanium, but only of a specific kind. And then based upon this increased conductivity, you use electrode-based lenses to actually help your chromosomes more center and focus during cell division. That's how it functions. But even more important is that in comparison with lenses, right? of glasses that you use. Our chips, electrode-based chips, they actually go deeper into the liquid crystal media, helping it actually slowly regenerate. So it's becoming it's becoming capable of better centering and focusing itself without these electrode-based chips, anymore. So, and this technology, as I said, right, it's an old technology. It's used by our ancestors for millennia. And so it's rooted in long tradition. And if you stay faithful to your roots, Russian, Aryan, megalithic roots, right, you actually are capable of remembering, recalling, anamnesis, right, recalling this truth, this ancient technology, because this is antediluvian megalithic technology of psychophysics, how you can actually use some specifically structured resins, natural, artificial, in order to help your own liquid crystal media function in a more coherent, crystallized manner.
Okay, yeah. So maybe the last question. What is your biggest wish for humanity, for the world, for our future? What from the bottom of your heart or your soul, and your soul, of course, what would that be?
Well, my biggest wish for the humanity is to realize that Russia is the direct heir of the antediluvian megalithic civilization of Ra. All Europeans are Russians. They came to the territory of Europe from Russia, and eventually from the North Pole. North Pole is a portal. And my wish that humanity will recall the true ancestors, and that all come from Ra, from the absolute light. This is what I wish. It has nothing to do with religion,
No.
nationality, with racism, or anything, nationalism. It's so I wish that humans right now will find strength to resist this assault on slaughter of 5G and GMO, and there will be some sober minds in Europe who will be able to self-organize themselves, to literally organize right now. The like close 3 to 5 years later will be too late. Get women, childbearing girls, protect them, and to actually guarantee that we survive this revelation crisis, the collapse crisis. So this I wish that they will actually make sure that they will get children, women children, because they will not be able to get synthetic embryo. It's impossible. This will fail.
So we also need to to decide in what we believe. I think we, like humanity is now, I always have the feeling they are now in a certain level, and they just need to make this jump to the next level. And but for that we need to restart to believe in what we really are, who we really are, from where we really come from, and all this stuff. Yeah.
Well, for Europe, I also would wish make other steps. It's not only enough to make a kind of reservation, protected women, girls. You see, it's psychophysics. You see, and it's non-local. So if certain community, let's say Germany or Switzerland, do certain things, right? It doesn't matter if they hide in the mountains, some girls, that they will survive. It's not local. This is what they should understand. So my wish, great wish for Europe, to abandon to forbid homosexual marriage, children for homosexual couples. Let them have sex as they want. It's their own right. But family, woman, child should be all this gender things destroying gender, because it's all against woman, to destroy woman. That's what they want. It's the climax of patriarchal degenerative civilization, this acrocentric chromosome.
Mm-hmm.
It leads to aggression, wars, and total collapse, genetic collapse. So I wish the Europe become capable of preserving conservative family values,
Mm-hmm.
gender, family, woman, children. This should be done, and it should be done as fast as possible, because it's not just GMO or 5G.
Mm-hmm.
Destruction of the family, pedophilia, is
Exactly.
more horrible than 5G. You see,
Mm-hmm.
if the person ever commits pedophilia, you see, this person is already, he's already corrupted his genome. You see, wave optics, because wave optics is based upon polarity. You see, you should have a woman and a man. You see, so if you don't have polarity, you don't have proper because it's called polarized bioholography. Called polarized bioholography, and this term I didn't create. This term was created by Tertishny in 2002, when he, with Gareev in Canada, he remotely cured rats of a certain genetic line from artificially inflicted diabetes. Destroyed pancreas. So polarized bioholography should be poles, woman and man. So this is what I wish Europeans would do. So tolerance is not dictation to the majority, which is heterosexual. So be tolerant for heterosexual also.
Yeah, and what you said, I think it's really important, this destruction of the families, and the children are always in other hands, and it's very insane today. And but people are fighting for the money also, even in Switzerland, you have to go, both have to work, otherwise you can never go to holidays or whatever. I don't know. You cannot really make a good living, but I think that's the kind of strategy, just to get us going where they want us to go finally. I don't know, but yeah.
In family, wife and husband, right?
Yeah.
Husband, a man who has degenerative Y chromosome, which is acrocentric chromosome. So males are degenerative, just in virtue of definition. There is nothing sexist or feminist about it. It's just a bare scientific fact. The gender chromosome is dysfunctional. So man should have a wife to compensate for his degenerative acrocentric chromosome. There's nothing of feminism here. It should be family, man and woman, two poles. Yes. And man should crave to have a daughter, because daughter has his chromosome and wife's chromosome. Yeah. So the daughter is the bridge for him to actually correct his acrocentric chromosome. Okay. So the more he has his own daughters, the better off he is in any ways, clear vision, success, physical resilience, material, gain, everything. So daughter is the key to have success, to be successful in life, you see? Okay. Peter Thiel, a homosexual. Yeah. Peter Thiel, you should have 5 daughters to be able to understand quantum physics. My God, So 5 daughters is a guarantee, to be capable for a man, to be capable of being
Okay.
capable of quantum physics, because quantum physics is given only when your chromosome is properly centered and focused.
Okay.
And the male chromosome is not properly centered and focused. It is degenerative chromosome. So all homosexual culture is the degenerative culture of depopulation and the culture of transforming humans into Neanderthals. There is nothing of homophobic. There is not homophobic.
Mm-hmm.
I don't forbid homosexuals
Yeah.
sex in any ways that they want. They want to have sex with a doll, plastic doll, with a branch of the tree, you see, with the leaves, with the apples, grapes, you know. I don't care. You see, this I'm telling this specifically for their own good.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But anyway, they cannot change, like they are born like that. I mean,
yeah, my daughter, she said, well, maybe they are born like this. You see, we are indestructible, uncreated souls.
mm-hmm.
Every person is born born bisexual.
Yeah, and one part is more, yeah, and the other, yeah. Mm-hmm.
We can change our biological makeup
Mm-hmm.
by the power of our mind. This is what psychophysics is. We are all born bisexual.
Mm-hmm.
So in other words, our gender is our choice.
Yeah.
It's our individual choice. There is nothing about it, nothing criminal. So we can change ourselves, you see?
Okay.
So we can literally, in ideal, we should be able to make our acrocentric chromosomes all metacentric.
Mm-hmm.
This is basically the goal.
Okay.
So we should work on better crystallizing our chromosomes. So every man should try to actually surround himself with woman, you see, sleep with woman, hold a baby, you see, like, and it all should be clear from any animal sexual drive towards children.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And
because if he violates a child, he destroys child's chromosomes, wave optics. So he makes the worse for himself. So in Germany, they try to make fathers touch their daughters, 2 years old daughters, in a sexual way. I mean, this is a direct way of making humans into Neanderthals, beasts.
Yeah.
So this is what I wish as a mother of 3. I wish, this is my major wish, that Europeans should defend their family, defend their children, and just survive. Because we are the same Scythian the same people, basically. You are us. So we are the same people. We shouldn't, and there are less than 2% of us on this planet. Besides everything else, we are one with other nations too, but we are very close relatives.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, dear Irene, I thank you so much for everything, for your time. I know you are very busy, and I wish you so much. You already are very successful, but I wish you just all the best from the bottom of my heart. And thank you. I was very honored to talk to you today, and I hope that was a wonderful interview. So much information. I have to listen again to understand really more deeply everything you said, because it's a big theory, of course, that for normal people like me, it's not so simple to understand, but you explained it so well. And I just wish you all the best and a lot of success, and please continue your wonderful work, because it's so important for everybody. And I hope with this interview many people understand and feel what you are doing, because it's very great. You do such a great work. Thank you very much.
Thank you for kind words.
Moro Watapata.